The stock prices could go up and down in short period of time, and any external events could impact the prices in stock market as well, because the prices in stock market or the stock market is based on people's perception of the value of a business, which obviously means that the prices in stock market will be changing depending on how people perceive the information about the business. However, in the long run, the business is valued on the value which brings to the end consumer, not any perceptions. Well, this is what I've learned from reading different books of Warren Buffett and Benjamin Graham when I was starting with investing. However, for now, we just need to a little bit step back, as if we'd like to buy a company or choose a company for a long period of time, then what we really need to do is to really understand what we're trying to buy. And I believe one of the best ways to do so is actually by analyzing, understanding, and reading the financial statements of those companies, as it gives us, or it provides us with as much valuable internal information about the company as possible, such as how much assets company holds, or how much liabilities company has at this period of time, or what kind of potential obstacles or problems the company is about to face along the way, and so on and so forth. So basically, guys, in this video we're going to be going through and covering all the very important aspects of the financial statements, such as who mostly need the financial statements, and the where and how to get the information, or how to get the financial statements of publicly traded companies, of course by using a real example, as well as the release dates of financial statements. And more importantly, we're going to be talking as well what is it, what are the components, as well as how to properly analyze it. So with all this saying, and before jumping or before getting into all the above mentioned topics, let me just quickly mention you that this is Accountant is Investing channel, and where I of course obviously talk about accounting as well as investing. And not only I'm gonna be also adding some additional topics in here. So that's the reason why, guys, please do not forget to press the subscribe button, and which is, by the way, a huge motivation for me to keep it going. So with that saying, let's just keep it going. So starting from who mostly need it. Well, first and foremost, I'd like to mention that financial statements are not only for accountants and investors. It is actually for a much wider audience. Financial statements are really important for different group of people. And especially I'd like to note here that the entrepreneurs, because if you already have a business, or if you're planning to open a business in the future, one way or another, you'll get to the point, or you'll get to the stage where you will have to start understanding financial statements, because that's the way how you see the full clear picture what's going on with your company. You can see your strengths and weaknesses of your company in numbers. So talking about the components, financial statement consists of three main reports, three main components. First one is balance sheet. The second one is profit and loss statement, and last but not least is cash flow. Well, let me just quickly give you an introduction about three of them. The first of all, balance sheet. Balance sheet is something which is as of today. So I can say that we could have certain amount of assets, certain amount of cash as of today. At the same time, on the balance sheet, we can see the debts, how much money we have to pay, to our creditors as of today, as well as balance sheet also shows us the real net worth of the company, or the real, shareholders part. So this is basically the balance sheet, which gives us the full information what company owns nowadays. The second thing is profit and loss statement. Well, there are a lot of different theoretical explanation about the profit and loss statement, but let me just try to put it in a little bit different way. So imagine I am a company and someone comes to me and asks how much money I've made. Well, I could say that I made, I don't know, $50,000, and obviously the next question is coming, for how long, for which period of time I have made it. Well, I could say for 3 months, for 1 quarter, or for 1 year. So you see, the same with profit and loss statement. It shows us the performance of our company, well, which means that how much money we've made for a specific period of time. So in our case, when we are talking about the stock market, the companies show their performance either for quarter as well as the annual performance. So this is the profit and loss statement. So, but last but not least, cash flow statements. It's also a very important statement which shows us all the incoming as well as all the outgoing, payments. So this is basically where we can see how much real liquidity we have by looking at the cash flow. Cash flow statement also inside is divided by operational activities, financing activities, as well as investing activities. By the way, I'm going to be making a different video about each components, each statements of financial statements, where I'm going to be digging in, where I'm going to be getting inside and analyzing all in detail all the things in there. So please stay tuned, subscribe for the channel. So before we get into my computer before we get into my PC and I'm going to be showing you the way or the how to get to financial statements, where to see it. Let me just quickly talk a little bit about the release date of financial statements. Well, as I have mentioned that publicly traded companies, they do release it once quarterly and annually. And so annual report is called 10K and the quarterly report is called 10Q. By the way, there can be more statements actually, but for now we're just going to be sticking with these two main ones. And by the way, just to mention, when I said annually or when I say quarterly, it doesn't necessarily have to be 31st of December, for example. Every company has their own fiscal year according to their according to their accounting standards. So it doesn't have to be 31st of December. Yeah, it has to be once a year, and every company could have their own cycle. So with that saying, let's get into my computer and take a look at the financial statements. How and where to find the financial statements of publicly traded company. And since this is just an example, I'm just going to be taking one of the popular publicly traded companies. Let's say we're going to be taking Apple company. So what do I have to do first? I'm just going to be writing down Apple investor relations in Google. So I press enter. So the very first website is popping up here is investorapple.com. So I'm going to be pressing on this one. And now we are on the website of Apple, and here on the investor relations sections you can see here the stock price, SEC filings, leadership governance, and what we need to go to is SEC filings. Why? Because every publicly traded company has to fill or has to submit their financial statements or financial reports to the commission. So this is where we are about to go. So as you can see here, we have all the fillings for all the years, and we need to be very particular here. Let's say that we're going to be getting the report for 2020, and let's say that we need annual report. So as you can see here, it is 10K report, which is annual report, and the release date is 30th of October. So you see that it's not 31st of December. Apple has their own release date for financial statements. So in order to get in there, we're just going to be pressing on PDF, and here we go. We have the annual statements or 10K report of Apple company, and it's basically a very, very big report, maybe more than 100 pages. And by just scrolling a little bit down, we have here the table of contents, where we can see basically everything what has happened for the last year with Apple company, and not only for the last year, but in general. We have here some introduction about the business. Obviously everybody knows Apple, but if you're trying to buy some other companies which are not as popular as Apple company, you can even find the information what company does. So risk factors, some legal proceedings, maybe even management, they put some discussions, they themselves analyzed their financial statements, make some comparison with previous years. Also, but what we need right now is financial statements. So we have to get to this item 8, financial statements and supplementary data. So once I press on that one, it will get me to this page. So where I can see that consolidated statement of operation for the year end, and consolidated statement of comprehensive income, consolidated balance sheet, and consolidated statement of cash flow. So don't get afraid of this word consolidated. It's still the same financial statements, it's still the same, profit and loss statement, cash flow, and the balance sheet. Just the word consolidated means that the report was taken from all the offices in the world, Apple. Yeah, so it's just consolidated, it bring together into one report. So that's basically what's called consolidated. And as you can see here, it's also written that consolidated statements of operations. Well, this is a profit and loss statement. They can be called in very different ways. Statement of operation, consolidated profit and loss statement, income statement. So as an example, let's just get into consolidated balance sheet. So I'm going to be pressing on this one. And as you can see here, this is the balance sheet of Apple companies. We have here assets, liabilities, and owner's equity or shareholders equity. So by the way, just quickly to mention that in my next videos, I'm going to be making a very detailed video about each component, each statements, profit and loss statement, cash flow, and balance sheet, how they work, explanations of each items in there, how to properly analyze it, and what do they mean. So subscribe for the channel. Thank you for watching, and stay healthy.